All right, this is Patrick County Administrative Building. We're going to see the Public Service Authority. Today is July 16th and it's about 11:20.
Hey,
PSA, yeah.
right here.
I was looking for it on the little tag, but that's it.
Yeah, no, they hadn't, I guess I ain't think it's been there. Hey, Mark. Yeah. Mr. White would like to.
Hey, how you doing? Mark Vernon.
Legal White. We need to make some FOIA requests.
Okay. What you need?
You got something I can write down? And I'll have to. I need to see. I need to put a FOIA request. How many agreements you have with people within the county that decided not to, or to use their own well and septic?
Let me ask for this. So,
How many agreements you have on file
Okay.
with people that are using their own well and septic, and when it comes to the mandatory hookup,
okay.
as well as how many?
So you're talking about PSA?
Yeah,
Okay,
is that you?
that's me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I also would like to FOIA request and see how many on file, because according to the,
Okay, so it
how-
says no card
according to the
detected, payment
ordinance,
canceled,
if somebody
card
does an
not
agreement
returned.
with you guys, they have to show that their
So that
well
was
and
after I had
septic
entered her
are
credit
fully
card
functional
number,
according to Virginia
then it
code.
passed me
right?
for the
So I need to know how many on,
and
how many
then
of
okay,
those
and then that
do you
came
have on
out.
file from residents that you have an agreement with? Yeah, I don't need the
Okay,
residents'
well,
names, like, I don't need
Right.
like names, I don't want like addresses, I just need to know how many agreements do you have on file? So like, if you hadn't, if there's like me, if it was me and you, I signed something saying that I agree to pay the thing, and then here's my report saying that my well and septic is fully functional, that's what I need.
Okay, okay.
Let me see if Melissa's got FOIA request forms.
Now, is the, help me understand this, how does this work? So if, because I'm hearing conflicting things, is it, if you're within a certain feet of a line?
No.
Because I've been told it was, and I called up here and spoke to somebody and they said it was
Yeah.
150 feet.
Have you seen the mandatory connection policy?
I have, I've read it.
Okay, so it doesn't specify in there.
That's
any
why,
footage.
because when I called up here and I spoke with somebody, they told me it's within 150 feet.
Right, I think an old mandatory
Yeah, because when I was
connection policy
between
probably specified that.
2014, 2016-ish, and then it was revised just
Yeah, it
to
was,
2022.
yeah, something
so-
like that, 21, 22 or something. So I think maybe the older connection policy may have specified a distance.
I don't know who I spoke to, but when I called up, because I looked up the PSA number.
Right.
And I called that number, so whoever answered it, and it was a lady, they were specifically
Yeah,
dead set that it was 150, if you were within 150 feet of a line.
right, okay.
Um,
Sound like it might have been Ruth Russell.
could have been.
Yeah, she's been working with the PSA for quite a while, so
Wow.
it may have been her.
I can understand if that was in, but nowhere in the ordinance it said that. So if,
Yeah, and
if-
in the mandatory connection policy that we have now, it does
Yeah.
not state
Yeah.
a distance.
Okay, okay,
Now,
alright.
what
I guess I just need to cancel that.
if I had a house that was right across the street from me was
No,
a
that's it.
fire hydrant, does that count?
Right across the street from you was
No,
a fire
I did
hydrant,
not.
would that fall? Yeah, if the water line
I
is
don't
in,
have
within that street right away.
Mhm.
then
Even
you'll-
if it's just
then-
a fire hydrant? Because you
Well,
would think that,
all fire
fire
hydrants,
hydrants would
fire
be
hydrants
more
are
of a-
connected to the water line.
yeah, but you would think that if a fire hydrant being placed there, cause I don't see nothing in there, in the ordinance either that says plus fire hydrant, you would think a fire
Well,
hydrant
fire
would be more of a
hydrants,
necessity.
fire hydrants are mandated by Virginia Waterworks regulations.
Yeah,
That anytime a waterworks installs a water line that's 6 inches or greater, they're required to install fire hydrants on those lines.
Yeah.
At a certain distance.
yeah.
So when they install the water lines, they put in the fire hydrant.
So if a fire hydrant, no, I'm talking about there's no other water lines but a fire hydrant.
I did.
There has to be a water line that feeds that fire hydrant.
Yes, so so just
So-
because there's a fire hydrant and then there's a water line that goes to that fire
Thank you
hydrant,
so much.
now that means I have to mandatorily hook up to it.
Yeah, if the water line is within that road right away,
Mhm.
and your property abuts that right away, then you fall under the mandatory connection.
Okay.
So, let's just say this is a highway, okay?
Okay, thank you very much.
And road shoulder's paved shoulder. If you see a fire hydrant, it's gonna be connected to a water line, right?
So where, okay, if there was no other, like, let's say my house is on this side, okay,
Right.
so there you
Me
go.
too.
Now, somewhere there's a line going through there, where
Right
would it
here.
stop at?
Right here. It just depends. Some of them don't stop, some of them are looped on roads, connect to other water lines, and then some of them are dead end water lines.
So, let's say that this is a dead end water line and it stops at the fire hydrant.
Okay, so you're gonna be a dead end right there.
Okay,
Your property is right here.
and this is
Still-
all within
Yeah.
accordance to the Virginia code as well?
Yeah.
Because the Virginia code, because now see, when I read the Virginia code, it says that, because under the county's ordinance, this is all under additional fees, where it says that you can charge or that you're charging, I think it's like $30-some,
Yeah.
$35.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if you send a letter out to somebody and you get no response back?
Then they'll be, if they don't respond back,
Mhm.
and they fall outside of the grace period,
Mhm.
and we always set a grace period on it. It's 2 years for residential property,
Okay,
1 year for commercial property.
okay,
And if you don't get a response back, you assume that they're not gonna connect.
okay.
Because with the letter goes a request to hook up for service.
Now,
all
so
that
you,
stuff.
so you initially sent out, and I'm just trying to understand this. So let's say 5 years ago, I moved to this county. You guys sent me a letter, and I'm not saying that me in general. You guys sent out a letter, I get it in the mail saying that I have to hook up to this. I say, screw it, I'm not gonna, or I don't say screw it, let's just say, I forget.
Right.
So you get 2 year grace period. Now, do you guys send anything else out saying, hey, look, we've sent you out a message at this point, are you gonna be, if you're not gonna hook up? Okay, so now does that follow the ordinance though? Because
Yeah.
according
I
to
mean,
the
it's-
ordinance,
And when you say ordinance, it's not an ordinance.
it is an ordinance.
It's
It
a
is an
connection policy under the Public Service Authority.
Well,
It's a policy.
it's a policy.
Yeah,
Policy also,
right.
okay, so, well, technically, you can look at it as an ordinance as well because it was approved by the Board of Supervisors.
At some point, I think they approved the
Yeah.
mandatory connection.
They did the revised, so that is.
Well, they didn't do
They
it.
revised it in 2022.
Yeah,
But
the
anyways, we're
pub-
getting off the
okay.
beaten path, but my
All
question is this. According to your policy, when you send out the letter, you have to have, so I have my own well and septic, and I'd say, I don't wanna use yours, I'm gonna use mine, and then you say, okay, well, you have to have an agreement between me and you, well, the PSA and myself, and then I have to show proof that my well and septic is within, that falls, and it says, falls within the, guidelines of the Virginia code.
Mhm.
Okay, so what happens if you don't have that? You can still charge them regardless?
If you don't have what?
The agreement and the proof showing that their wells falls
Yeah.
within the perimeters?
Yeah, if they don't make the connection,
Mhm.
then they're charged the availability
Okay,
fee, the non-user.
where exactly does it say? that
After the
in
grace,
in
after the grace period.
So it's not an
It-
ordinance, it's a policy of not yours, because I understand you're not.
Right,
It's the policy of the PSA,
yeah,
right?
it's the
Okay.
PSA board, that's correct.
So where does it say that in the policy? Now, because you're saying after the 2-year period, the 2-year grace period, there's no other letter sent out, you just automatically start charging.
They're charged, that's right.
Where does it say that in the
Yeah.
policy?
It says it in the policy when, it says that if you do not connect,
I didn't read that.
then you'll be charged.
In the revised 2022, I didn't read that.
Yeah,
That's why
what did you read?
I didn't read anything about that.
Well, what did you read?
It basically said that if you was to send me a letter, it said that everybody receives a mandatory letter if you're, I would assume,
Right.
close to a line.
Right.
And that if you had a well and septic and choose not to, hook up, then
Right.
you have to, there has to be an agreement between PSA and myself. I have to show proof to you guys that my well and septic it's fully functional under the Virginia code, which means I have to hire somebody to come out and do a well and septic and make sure it falls, and then I have to bring that up to you guys. Sign an agreement, because there's no verbal contract between us. I mean, at least me in general, I'd sign a contract or sign something, and then show that to you in order to be, not use your water and your.
Yeah, in order
But I didn't
to
see-
not connect.
Yeah, but I didn't
Yeah.
see anything in there where it stated that. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it's in the code of Virginia that you can charge the non-user
Yes.
fees. the
Yes, I
availability
did see that, and it says
Yeah.
you can, it doesn't say you have to, but it says you can.
That's right, it says you can.
It says you can, it doesn't say we're mandating or telling, the Commonwealth of Virginia is not telling you you have to, you guys are choosing to, is what I'm trying to get to the point. Now, I read the Virginia code, and I read I thought it was an ordinance, but you're telling me it's a policy. And what I'm saying is there's nowhere in there that says that after a 2-year grace period, you will automatically be charged regardless.
Yeah, you need to come to the board meeting, we got one on Tuesday. If you
This
wanna-
Tuesday
if you
coming
wanna
up?
ask, yeah,
Yeah, I'll
right,
be-
there's a sign-up sheet,
Where will it be at, here?
and, yeah, it's in the courtroom, 3rd floor.
3rd floor, just like the
Where
Board of
they have the Board of
Supervisors meeting?
Supervisors. So it's right there, it's a sign-up
At
sheet,
6 o'clock.
it's at 6 o'clock. Do we have FOIA request form, Melissa?
It's pretty much online. If he submits one online, it'll go,
Have you've done that before?
yeah, it'll go to Amy, and she'll forward it to whoever it needs to go to.
So send that in and she'll get it to me.
Okay. I'll do, and then that's Tuesday at 6 o'clock here.
Is that a no or an NA? Okay, so you're not a customer.
Well, I'm not saying I am or I'm not. I'm just saying, okay, so
Well, I mean, we'll know if you are or not.
you can look and find out, I don't
mean,
care.
we got customer base. so-
I'm not. That's,
Either one, I can transfer it to either one.
but that doesn't mean I can't ask questions, because
No,
it's public,
No,
so.
that's right.
Okay,
Public comment period, so.
and then I'll just go through the county and do the FOIA
Yes,
request.
yeah.
Okay, and your name
You
again?
know, like Mark Vernon.
Mark Vernon? All right, thank you for
Okay.
answering my questions. Let's go. Thank you, ma'am.